What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. Now, as always, this is not a main episode of the Let's Play. This is going to be a Codex lore reading episode. If that's not something you're interested in, go ahead and click away from the video now and wait for a main episode of the Let's Play. If that is something you're interested in, then let's dive on in. So, in creatures, or in items, excuse me, we have the Bow of the Golden Sun. We picked this up from a slaver inside the hospice in the Alienage. There is no more famous a ruler in history than Cordelius Draken, first Emperor of Olay. Few, however, know the story of his empress. Empress Arya was the third of Lord Montlors of Valshiben's famously unmarriageable 6 daughters. When she met young Prince Cordelius, she was the captain of her father's archers and led the defense of Lor's castle. She was not the fairest of ladies, nor the most elegant or charming, but Arya could shoot the wings off a bumblebee at 100 paces. By all accounts, when the prince witnessed that particular feat, Draken, who was not noted for his charm or elegance, and rather better known for his sword and shield, was instantly smitten. On their wedding day, Draken presented his bride with a golden bow crafted by the mages of Val Royeaux, so that they could ride into battle and spread the light of the Maker side by side. Antiva. In the rest of the civilized world, it is common belief that Antiva has no king. I assure you, gentle readers, that this is untrue. The line of kings in Antiva has remained unbroken for 2,500 years. It is simply that nobody pays any attention to them whatsoever. The nation is ruled, in truth, by a collection of merchant princes. They are not princes in the literal sense, but heads of banks, trading companies, and vineyards. Their power is conferred strictly by wealth. But Antiva is not primarily renowned for its peculiar form of government, nor for its admittedly unparalleled wines. Antiva is known for the House of Crows. Since Antivans are well known for being good at everything but fighting, it is more than a little ironic that Antiva possesses the most deadly assassins in the world. Their fame is such that Antiva keeps no standing army, no king is willing to order his troops to assault her borders, and no general is mad enough to lead such an invasion. The attack would likely succeed, but its leaders would not see the day. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar, by Brother Genetive, Bannorn. The central Ferelden Valley has always been a paradox. No single ban holds more than a few dozen leagues of farmland, yet together they govern a greater territory than all the Turns and Arls combined. This collection of independent bands is known as the Bannorn, and it is the heart of Ferelden politics. No person has ever sat upon the throne of Ferelden without first winning the approval of the Bannorn. Queen Fiona, who had the misfortune to take the throne in the 18th year of the Steel Age, wrote of the Bannorn, "There have been 3 wars this year fought over elopements, 5 fought over wool, and 1 started by an apple tree. It isn't even winter yet. Who would believe that these same bands, now trying so hard to kill one another, just last year united to give me the crown?" From Ferelden, Folklore and History, by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. The City Elves. When the holy exalted march of the Dales resulted in the dissolution of the Elven Kingdom, leaving a great many elves homeless once again, the divine Renata I declared that all lands loyal to the Chantry must give the elves refuge within their own walls. Considering the atrocities committed by the elves at Red Crossing, this was a great testament to the Chantry's charity. There was one condition, however. The elves were to lay aside their pagan gods and live under the rule of the Chantry. Some of the elves refused our goodwill. They banded together to form the wandering Dalish elves, keeping their old elven ways and their hatred of humans alive. To this day, Dalish elves still terrorize those of us who strayed too close to their camps. Most of the elves, however, saw that it was wisest to live under the protection of humans, and so we took the elves into our cities and tried to integrate them. We invited them into our homes and gave them jobs as servants and farmhands. Here in Denerim, the elves even have their own quarter, governed by an elven keeper. Most have proven to be productive members of society. Still, a small segment of the elven community remains dissatisfied. These troublemakers and malcontents roam the streets causing mayhem, rebelling against authority, and making a general nuisance of themselves. From Ferelden, Folklore and History, by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. Alienage Culture. There have always been alienages. They have been around for as long as elves and shems have lived in the same lands. Ours isn't even the worst. They say that Valrayo has 10,000 elves living in a space no bigger than Denerim's market. Their walls are supposedly so high the daylight doesn't reach the Venedahl until midday. But don't be so anxious to start tearing down the walls and picking fights with the guards. They keep out more than they keep in. We don't have to live here, you know. Sometimes a family gets a good break, and they buy a house in the docks, or the outskirts of town. If they're lucky, they come back to the Alienage after the looters have burned their house down. The unlucky ones just go to the pauper's field. Here, we're among family. We look out for each other. Here, we do what we can to remember the old ways. The flat ears who have gone out there, they're stuck. They'll never be human, and they've gone and thrown away being elven too. So where does that leave them? Nowhere. Cerethia, Heron of the Highever Alienage. The Free Marchers. The Free Marchers are not a kingdom, nor even a nation in the most basic sense. People from that region dislike even being lumped together as marchers. Rather, they are a collection of independent city-states united only when it suits them. In this respect, they resemble the Bannorn before the arrival of King Kellenhad. Because of this, the Free Marchers have no capital, and what passes for a central government exists only sporadically, a sort of landsmeet that convenes only during times of crisis. I arrived in time for the Grand Tourney while it was on in Tantivale, a remarkable sight indeed. I saw Avar hillsmen test their mettle against Orlesian chevaliers, riders from the Anderfels buying Navaran cavalry horses, and Theban craftsmen selling their wares to Tevinter mages. All of Thedas was on display. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Gwaren. The human settlement of Gwaren is built directly on top of a dwarven outpost by the same name. Prior to the First Blight, in a time when Ferelden was not yet a nation and was still carved up into barbarian tribes, the outpost served as a source of salt and a means by which the dwarves could reach the sea lanes of the Amaranthine Ocean. Unwilling to come to the surface, the dwarves made an agreement with the local turn to build a port and relied on the humans to ferry goods between the ships and the underground outpost. This made Gwaren a prosperous place and extraordinarily wealthy for a time. When, in the Divine Age, the dwarven kingdoms fell to the Darkspawn and the deep roads were closed off, so too did the dwarves disappear from Gwaren. The human settlement, the envy of the surrounding barbarian tribes, was assaulted and sacked, its wealth stolen. The town remained, however, and despite its remote location, continued to find value as a source of fish and timber. As the first settlement liberated by King Maric and Loghain during the Ferelden Rebellion, Gwaren was eventually granted to Loghain when he became Tern in 911 Dragon. From Ferelden, Folklore and History, by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. Vollen, the Occupied North. In the 30th year of the Steel Age, the first Qunari ships were sighted off the coast of Vollen in the far north, marking the beginning of a new age of warfare. History calls this the First Qunari War, but it was mostly a one-sided bloodbath, with the Qunari advancing far into the mainland. Qunari warriors in glittering steel armor carved through armies with ease. Their cannons, the likes of which our ancestors had never seen, reduced city walls to rubble in a matter of seconds. Stories of Qunari occupation vary greatly. It is said they dismantled families and sent captives to learning camps for indoctrination into their religion. Those who refused to cooperate disappeared to mines or construction camps. For every tale of suffering, however, there is another of enlightenment deriving from something called the Qun. This is either a philosophical code or a written text that governs all aspects of Qunari life, perhaps both. One converted Saharan reported pity for those who refused to embrace the Qun, as if the conquerors had led him to some sort of self-discovery. For all my life, I followed the Maker wherever his path led me, he wrote. But in the Qun, I have found the means to travel my own path. It has been said that the most complete way to wipe out a people is not with blades, but with books. Thankfully, a world that had repelled 4 blights would not easily bow to a foreign aggressor, and so the exalted marches began. The greatest advantage of the Chantry-led forces was the Circle of Magi. For all their technology, the Qunari appeared to harbor great hatred for magic. Faced with cannons, the Chantry responded with lightning and balls of fire. the Canary armies lacked the sheer numbers of humanity. So many were slain at Marnas Pel on both sides that the Vale is said to be permanently sundered, the ruins still plagued by restless corpses. But each year, the Chantry pushed further and further into the Canary lines, although local converts to the Cume proved difficult to return to Andraste's teachings. By the end of the Storm Age, the Canary were truly pushed back. Rivain was the only human land that retained the Canary religion after being freed, and its rulers attempted to barter a peace. Most human lands signed the Lamerin Accord, accepting the Tevinter Imperium. It is a shaky peace that had lasted to this day. From the Exalted Marchers, an examination of Chantry warfare by Sister Petrine, Chantry scholar. Venedahl, the Tree of the People. Mostly the old ways are gone. Each generation forgets a little more of the old tongue, a little more of the traditions, and the few things we keep become simple habits, the meaning long since faded. So it is with the Venedahl, the Tree of the People. Every alienage has one, I'm told, or they used to. When I was a little girl, my mother told me the tree was a symbol of our Lathan, but not even she knew more. Keeping the Venedahl is just a habit now. Many cities have let theirs wither and die, and chop them up for firewood. No great loss. Sarathea, Baron of the Hyeva alienage, Valendrian. Remember that our strength lies in commitment to tradition and to each other. Every alienage has a Haran, an elder. It falls to the Haran to arrange marriages for those without family, to negotiate with the guards when there's trouble, and to act as a sort of mayor and surrogate uncle to the people of the alienage. The title, like so many things, is a holdover from the time of the Lathan, for Harans are not necessarily the oldest person in their community, or even all that old. Tradition gives the role to the oldest soul, the wisest, cleverest, and the most level-headed. Valendrian has been Haran of the Denerim alienage since he was in his 30s. He was nearly shipped to Tevinter by slavers, but was returned to the alienage by apparition. Arl Rendon Howe. It will be good to ride into battle once more, won't it, old friend? The Arling of Amaranthine winds along the sinuous northeastern coast of Ferelden. The waking sea is known for its temper, and the storms that sweep in from the warmer northern waters are sudden and brutal. These are the lands of Rendon Howe. He was born during the occupation, and like many of the nobles at the time, joined Prince Marek's rebels. He fought alongside young Bryce Cousland, future Turn of Hyeva, and Leonus Bryland, future Arl of Southreach, at the bloody Battle of White River. It was the most catastrophic defeat of the entire occupation, from which only 50 rebel soldiers escaped alive. Although he was decorated for valor by King Marek, Howe's abrasive manners have earned him almost universal dislike amongst his peers. When Bryce sent his men to support the king at Ostagar, Howe took it as an opportunity to attack Hyeva, slaughtering the people there and claiming the lands and title as his own. Of all the inhabitants of Castle Cousland, only Apparition survived. Howe died at the hands of Apparition in Denerim, Arl Eamon Guerrin. Nobility does not exist without obligation. We owe all we have, even our lives, to our land and our people. As the maternal uncle of King Caelan, Arl Eamon is one of the king's most trusted advisors. Redcliffe, while not a large or especially wealthy part of Ferelden, is a critical strategic location. The fortress guards the western pass that leads to Orlais, as well as the major trade route with Orzammar. A well-respected man, though not the most charismatic, King Caelan once said of him, "My uncle Eamon is a man everyone thinks well of, when they remember to think of him at all." He fell ill with a mysterious condition that even magic could not treat. It was no common ailment. Eamon was poisoned by a blood mage, Jowan, who claimed to be working for Turn Loghain. The Arl's life was saved only by the most extraordinary measures, finding the urn of sacred ashes, the remains of Andraste herself. His health restored, Eamon called a landsmeet with the goal of wresting power from Loghain and placing Alistair on the throne. Queen Anora. We have been given the gift of freedom by our forebearers. Let us not squander it. The only child of the war hero Loghain MacTir, Anora has never been one to stay quietly in the background. It is common knowledge that in the 5 years Anora and Caelan held the throne together, she was the one wielding the power. She is held in much higher esteem than her husband by the people of Ferelden, nobility and commoners alike, and commands the respect even of foreign nations, having once inspired Empress Selene of Orlais to declare, "Anora of Ferelden is a solitary rose among brambles." She sent her maid, Erlina, to Arl Eamon's estate to ask for apparitions' help in escaping from Arl Howe, but as they fled Howe's estate, Anora in disguise, they were ambushed by Sir Corthrian, there to arrest Howe's murderer. Apparition surrendered to permit Anora's escape. She then made her way to Eamon's Denerim estate and offered her aid in defeating her father at the land's meet. Meditations and Odes to Bees. O fair damsel of the garden, our lesser of honeysuckle and rose, I humbly beg your gracious pardon for the offence that here arose. Surely your work is far too vital to be interrupted by one like me. I am in no way entitled to earn the notice of a honeybee. I was a fool to pluck that flower, for my lady fair, on my honour, I swear to bring you dozens more within the hour, if you give me leave to try. Listen, traveller, if you would walk the garden past some spring, mind that you don't trespass, for the gardeners do sting. Anonymous. Alrighty, and we are all caught up with the final codexes. Likely I only have one more codex episode to do in the rest of this game, and I'll probably do that after we complete the main story, so apologies if I sound a little off today. I'm really struggling with my voice actually, so apologies if I didn't put the same pizzazz on it that I usually do. Anyways, that is going to be a wrap for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, as always, there is a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Dragon Age Origins. Take care, guys.